in a second, we are away. A great start through there by Jordan Brennan. Look, he has just disappeared. We've got a mega aero shot there as well. Although I say that, just about to go 2 by 2, Jordan Brennan has lost out. I'm trying to see who that is. Was that? I'm trying to think who that actually was.
Robbie
Stapleton. He lost out to. So we got Mike Epps into third. So we knew that Mike Epps was going to have a really good run. But we're going to have Brennan try and go around the outside of turn 2. That was never going to work in a million years because you knew Stapleton was going to cut that off. Is there going to be a cutback? We just been told as well that Jack McIntyre didn't get a very good start. You saw there was one car when we focused on Jordan Brennan, but it didn't get away. That was Jack McIntyre. So a bit of a shame for him there. He's got to try and work back up. You see, he's in P8. But at the moment, we've got Stapleton, Brennan and Epps leading in your top 3. And that's 2 side by side there. That was Isaac Smith and Max Everson going very side by side. They're still... how this is going to work, I don't know. 2 did not go into 1 chat, but they seem to be all okay at the moment. But Jack McIntyre is wanting to get involved in this battle as well. So this 2-way battle potentially is going to go 3 wide. There's still how Edmondson and Walters. Sorry, that's not Edmondson. Well, that's Walters and Smith. How they're still side by side. It's been almost the entire lap. You've got Jack McIntyre that's going to try and go around the outside of turn. That is, I believe that is turn 11. They're going to try and go through now to the infield section. Again, very, very tricky. You've got to be careful. But Jack McIntyre going up the inside. That is a position done and dusted. Or as I said, very, very sideways for Will Fairclough there. Got to be careful, as we were talking about there, Dave. But Jack McIntyre doesn't quite get the move done. This is probably 2 of the longest overtakes I've ever seen in any race, I think, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, what was that? Half a lap wheel to wheel there?
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, a bit of a tough start that by Jack. I don't know whether that was just not quite finding his clutch point there or what, but yeah, really struggled off the line and got dropped, but he's done well to get back up to 7th place. He's found himself some nice clear open road here, so he just needs to get his head down, get his composure, and I'm sure if the front start the battle, he'll be soon back caught up and battling for them podium positions.
He will indeed. Very, very true. Currently on board with Jordan Brennan. He's got Mike Epps behind him, Stapleton in front, obviously on the straight. Hasn't really got to worry about the Alpha, because we do know that the BMWs are quicker than the Alpha on the straight. As we see there, that was Stapleton going wide, going through into the hairpin. That has opened the door completely for Brennan, although the move hasn't been made just yet. Again, more action, more side-by-side action we've got here, but now these 2 have slowed each other up. Mike Epps is now going to want to get involved, so this is turned into back into a 3-way battle for the lead very, very quickly. Stapleton manages to get it all in check. I tell you what, that was very, very good car control. It's very easy to, especially like you said, these cars, they're because they're so old, in the brakes, if you miss your braking point by just a smidge, as we see Brennan looking up the inside, that was very, very last minute indeed. And Mike Epps, look at Mike Epps, he's just gone, thank you very much, chap. A bit of sideways action as well to try and, that actually looked like a Jensen Button move, where I think it was Brazil, and he got the tail and kicked out to try and stop the overtake happening back. Can't remember who it was though. But Mike Epps has just gone, thank you very much. Also, Butler is getting involved in the action. The second Alpha currently in this train. Oh my God, that has just changed. And we've got, that is Stapleton has lost out. What's that, 4 positions in the space of about 3 corners.
Yeah, I mean, he's lost 4 positions, but if you look at the actual amount of space he's lost, he's probably only lost, 3 or 4 car lengths, so it's really shown how close the start of the race is. I'm not going to lie, I had a huge grin for the majority of that lap, You've got Mike there, going in the stadium section, he knows the Alpha is stronger in the later section of the track. He closed in just at the right time. Jordan went for a committed move there on the inside, but we know that inside curve is really tricky. Hit that little bit of grass, overslowed the car. Robbie was on the outside with nowhere to go, and Mike Epps just read it perfectly and took that advantage.
He did indeed. Whoa, that was a little bit of contact there between, that was Stapleton and Butler, I believe. So Butler has dropped down the field, going through into the hairpin. Just outbraked himself massively there, and unfortunately, coupled with that little bit of contact, as we see Epps wanting to be one with Brennan's BMW rear, his BMW's rear bumper. This has now opened the door, so Edmondson is now going to try and have a look at Epps potentially. So again, this battle for the lead is still a 3-way battle. So Epps in second, so he did lose out on the position to Jordan. I'm guessing that was, we know the BMs are so quick in a straight line, but a little bit of a move there for Edmondson. He tried to have a look, couldn't quite make the car, and couldn't quite make the move stick. But all looks a bit even. Stevens going out that time, so I think Epps is just biding his time here, seeing where he's quicker. Again, this is where you start. Then you've got to play the long game here. It's only it's a very, very short race in the grand scheme of things. It's a sprint race, but you've still got to gauge it. You've still got to be careful, and you've got to calculate you can't just go throwing it at the inside all the time and hoping it sticks, because eventually it won't. So you've got to be calculated in your move. So Epps is sitting there going, where's he quicker, where is he slower? And then what we should find, if he can get to the back of him, although Brennan was pulled out half a second of a gap, it's actually going up. Again, like I said, we know the BMW is so fast, and this could potentially leave Edmondson to make a move go down to the head.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we already know the Alpha struggles on the straight line speed, so this is what I'm saying, the run down to turn 2 towards that right-hander, and then this third straight down towards the hairpin, that's where the Alpha is really not the best. So I'm only presuming that's where Brennan managed to get back past Mike Epps there. But, Mike Epps is keeping within that half a second. If you wait for Jordan, maybe his tyres will go off slightly earlier if he's pushing them rear tyres a little bit too hard. But yeah, Mike Epps is a smart driver. But to be fair play to Jordan at the moment, he's driving within himself. Nice little bit of sideways, which is always nice to see. These cars are really expecting.
They are indeed. They're so much fun to watch. I really hope you guys are enjoying it. Currently watching from wherever you are in the world. Yes, currently now riding on board with Mr. Jack McIntyre, who has recovered. He's back up to P6, very, very wide, going through into the infield section, into the arena. As we get it, we've got an onboard with an onboard, as we can see there. This is Jack McIntyre actually driving real time, which is a very, very cool shot indeed. Looking forward to seeing more of this in the future. So just rest. You can actually see, look at how much wheel movement is going on with Jack McIntyre. He's almost pretty much on full throttle and just balancing the car on the grip that is available to him. Yeah, currently in P6, I'm sure again he's playing the long game. He knows that he knows he's got pace, but he is trying to manage some ballast as well, as is Mike Epps, who is dropping back again. So the gap is now extended to 0.8 of a second. So Brennan's showing his race pace that he did show in qualifying. Actually, to be fair, I know he obviously lost out to Stapleford very near, but he got his composure, he set himself up, and then he went again, and now look, he's almost, as it has just ticked over in fact, a second ahead of P2.
Yeah, it's an incredibly good performance by Jordan there. It's pull out a second, but you've got to take into consideration the weight here. As we see Max Edmondson just going a little bit deep on the brakes. That's going to put Robbie Stiltford up the inside, going towards turn 8. Up the inside, Robbie's going to try and get the switch back, but Robin's there, he can't back off too much. Max Edmondson pulls away. Great defensive drive.
It is indeed, yes. So Max Edmondson just put his car exactly where it needs to be, but he does know that Stapleford is there and he wants to get by as soon as possible. Obviously, this is the battle for P3. Drop back a little bit here. I think, again, that's just probably some, to fair, I suppose, comfortable driving from Stapleford. Okay, he knows that where he is quicker, as we have seen there, so he knows where the move can be made, although we did see Emerson go a little bit wide. So again, just biding his time. There's still 12 minutes left of this race. Although saying that, with these 8 minutes have just absolutely flown by. I don't know where the time has gone. I'm sure these 12 minutes are actually going to go quite quickly for us, let alone the drivers. But yeah, Max Edmondson still holding P3, currently 1.2 seconds back. I'm just having a look at the timing. So we've got Mike Epps who's just put in the fastest lap of the race. Actually, I'll say it, no, sorry, not the fastest lap of the race. His personal best. We've got a 35.795 for Jordan Brennan, a 35.944. However, he's pulled a bit of time back. He has pulled a little bit of time back, and as I say that again, he's lost it. So that it's teetering between sort of the 8th and the 2nd at the moment. But the battle for P3 is ever raging on, and I think though as well, it's also probably extended to Jack McIntyre. So this is now, and it will be very, very soon. If Stapleford and Edmondson, if they battle any more, this is going to become a 4-way battle for P3 very, very quickly indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe we've got a 4-way battle here for third. I mean, this is literally, one driver drops one here, or another driver runs slightly at the back, and the other two are there ready to pounce. And I mean, Robin here is hanging on to the back at Stapleford. I just wonder whether he's sitting back a little bit, going to try and let Robbie, really try and attack Max in order to try and get them to, trip each other up a bit, and then Robin pounce. Because we've seen him, he's just starting to drop off the back of Robin here, but Jack isn't really gaining. So either the 3rd and 4th place have really upped the ante a bit here, or Robin's being smart and just going to let themselves trip over each other.
Yeah, it could do, to be fair. There's lots of different ways you can approach a race like this. There's almost 100 different ways. It's one of those ones where every scenario that you plan in your head doesn't necessarily work out. You see Mellors has dropped down, so he has lost. He's actually lost a couple of positions out to Fairclough and Carroll. I'm not entirely sure what's happened here, but Brennan's going to try and make a move around the outs. That's very side by side, actually going through into turn 1. As we see, Brennan was on the outside. He, again, sensibly backed out of that there. So, yeah, not entirely sure. That was actually Stapleford, apologies. That wasn't Brennan, as we saw on the timing tab. But he's going to have another look going through into turn 2. And I believe this is the move done and dusted. It is. And that was a textbook move there. Although the cutback, you actually saw Stapleford. You actually saw Edmondson, sorry. He actually dropped back a little bit. He braked a bit too early. Well, what seemed like a bit too early to cut that speed off. And he's just about potentially going to try and make the move, although I think Stapleford is going to make him go the long way round. He does think twice and backs out of it, but that has now left the door open for, that is Robin Walters. So exactly as you said, Dave, absolutely exactly as you said, Robin Walters sat there, did what he needed to do, let the guys battle up ahead, and when an opportunity came up, that is it. We see Walters was just there to pounce. So he's now moved up to P4, and I'm sure he's going to be hot on the heels of Stapleford. We can't let him get away with it.
Yeah, it was almost a bit psychic, that, I mean, wasn't it? There? I mean, I wish when I was racing I could read things that well, but yeah, I mean, Max here, it just looks like he's lost a bit of his rhythm, he's lost a bit of that flow. So this is where Jack really needs to notice that, really try and push Max and get past, because otherwise Jack's going to lose touch at 3rd and 4th place here. And you know, Jack's going to want to push forward in this grid. He does have good pace. It's just he's getting held up a bit here by Max, but we'll wait and see. I think both of them are really struggling a bit with rhythm here. But Robin Walters, what an overtake, read the grid perfectly. He's going to chase Robbie, so that's going to be the gap to watch. You can see Robin Walters already there, a 10th faster than Robbie Stapleford on the last lap. So yeah, that's definitely a battle to watch.
It is indeed like the battle is going to be ever raging on. We just had Dan Cook in the YouTube chat saying what a race this is already, and you are not wrong, Dan. You are not wrong at all. So yeah, Edmondson 7/10 back. Closed the gap a little bit. I think Walters went a little bit wide. So the gap between Walters and Edmondson, the two Mercedes, and actually the only two out of the 3 Mercedes that you see, the other one has just gone past you, of the one and only Isaac Smith. Yeah, the gap's come down very late on the brakes there for Edmondson. He's closed that gap up even more. So that gap has now come down to 0.3 of a second. I think Stapleford is sitting there going, thank you very much, chaps, you lot can crack on, and I'm just going to drive away into the distance. Obviously, that's not what Walters wants. I'm actually thinking, though, is Max also, as we have been saying, is he playing the long game as well as Jack? And these guys just almost allowing themselves to just see if they can catch up to Stapleford. Obviously, there comes a point, if they're not going to catch up to him, racing has to continue. I'm sure Max is going to probably, I'd say, maybe see if the gap is going to come down a little bit more, maybe in the next lap or 2 laps. And then, if there's no real movement made and they're not catching up to Stapleford by working together, that's when we're going to see a shift and we're going to see a change. And also, we're all of a sudden going to see Max and also Jack probably are just going to get the hammer down and try and get past them, get past each other as quickly as possible, because time is running out. 7 minutes left to go, plus 1 lap, bear in mind. So that 1 lap could make all of the difference.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just looking at lap times there. You know, Max Edmondson back in the 36.1, Robin Walters 36.4. So, you know, I think Max Edmondson just went off the boil a little bit there. He just got a bit out of the floor. Maybe he just got a bit flustered with Robbie past him. But really, he's back in his rhythm now, and he's putting pressure back on Robin Walters here. You know, Max has got the least weight out of these group of 4 cars. So you can see down the straight, he can really close up the Robin. And he can be about the same braking point, even though he's coming into the corner faster, because he doesn't have that weight pushing him on. But this is where, you know, he needs to be careful. Jack's there, you know, if Jack keeps the pressure, as we see there, Max Edmondson really struggling with the downshift there and locks up the front brakes, and I believe he's going to try and do the GP look, I think.
It looked like he was going to have that decision to make, didn't he? But unfortunately, that has dropped Walters back down as well. So Walters has, or are we seeing Edmondson? He is. He's let Walters by. Fair play. Yeah. Good sportsmanship. Yeah, recognised obviously that there was an error on his part. Straight away let him back by. It wasn't even one of the ones where, fair play. You have to defend that. A mistake is recognised. You know, hold hands up, apologise, and I think, to be fair, Dave, that's the best way you can apologise, isn't it?
Yeah, that was really nice to see, to be fair. It was something I was actually going to point on. That braking zone for that, with it being sort of a national track, it's really hard to actually find a braking point whatsoever for that hairpin. And we must point out how hard these cars are on brakes. It's not just the actual brake, it doesn't have much stopping power, but all these drivers are blipping down the gears as they're changing down. So all it takes is a bit too much of a blip or not enough of a one, and you get like engine overrun that pushes the car on. So I think that's exactly what we saw there, you know. Max didn't quite nail one of his downshifts there. The front of the car almost had a hop as he went down the shift. and then just hit a bump in the road, and then just ever so slightly snagged Robin Walters. A really unfortunate incident there, but it just shows Robin does have the pace here, and it'll definitely be looking for a good race 2 result.
Absolutely, you've got the reverse grid for race 2 as well. So that is one thing that we've always got to watch out for, and always throws a bit of spice into the mix. But the battle here between the Alphas, we have got Andy, Carroll and Will Fairclough battling it out. As if the 2 Alphas currently in this long train. You got Butler in the next Alpha down from Mike X. And then obviously these are the next 2 cars. It was very, very close, although I think Carroll may have just got a little bit out of shape on the exit of turn 2 and has since dropped back a little bit there. But you see actually as well, or as I say that, where Fairclough has gone wide, the gap has now come back down again. I was actually just seeing this. You can tell again the way that the difference in the way that these cars can be driven. Because normally what you'll have is, it looked to be as if Fairclough was actually just drifting the car into the apex just a little bit too soon. However, obviously he did have a bit of hop over the curve, which did slow him down. Yeah. But as long as you can get the car put in at the front and pushed in at the front, if you get the power down, as in the four-wheel drive, it just spits you out of the corner. So it's amazing to see these different driving styles. If you look at the BMW and the Mercedes, they're a lot more free-flowing, a lot more flowing through the corner. So it's the very, the conventional, as it were, the brake, turn, accelerate, that nice, smooth, sweeping curve. Whereas almost similar to like the LMP cars with the hybrid, where they've got their sort of KERS availability. You just sort of like pitch it into a corner, get the car turned, almost stopped, and then put your foot down, and off you go.
Yeah, for sure. And this is where, in an instance where the grid separates out, it's about lap time. But when this grid's closer bunched up, so like we're going to see in race 2, that's where the Alpha can actually be really strong. Back the cars up that's behind, that's rear-wheel drive. Slow the car down quite a lot mid-corner, forcing the rear-wheel drive to slow it down, lose that corner momentum, and then the Alpha's traction really just lights up out of the corner and they pull the gap, which is really useful on some of these long straights. So even though the Alpha's lacking that top-end speed, good racecraft in these cars can really see, the Alpha take advantage of the characteristics it has.
Indeed, very, very true. The gap at the moment, though, between P1 and P2. So, speaking of Alphas, we've got the BMW with Jordan Brennan currently leading, and has been leading for the majority of the race. Mike Epps, there or thereabouts, he has dropped back since. The gap is, again, teetering between that 1.3, 1.6 second margin. But I think Epps has just set up for second. He knows that, like I say, he's got the reverse grid. Admittedly, he's got that to deal with. But again, some really good points for exactly what he needs, because if you look at how many positions he is, he's only 2 positions ahead of Jack McIntyre, but that could be all the difference made. As we see there, that was Will Fairclough having a moment, not entirely sure where it was. I believe it was just coming into the infield section. But yeah, had a mistake, and unfortunately has let Carroll through. See if he can get his composure back. But again, like I said, we've got that reverse grid, so that is always one thing to watch out for. And a little bit sideways there, as we say that, for the infield section going in the mid part of the arena for Will. You've got to be careful with that. Tyres also going off, so that's one thing to also bear in mind. And at the moment, bouncing about all over the place, looks like driving a trampoline there. You do not want to run over those sausage curves. That is one thing you don't want to do. Underfloor damage, suspension damage, steering damage, you name it. You can, again, I know these cars are pretty robust, I know these cars are pretty sturdy. However, they are not. See that glowing, look at the glowing brake disc. That looks amazing. Yeah, these cars aren't indestructible.
No, but this is back when cars were built properly. These are built with big thick steel bolts, not these lightweight subframes and what have you. This is the proper cars built in the proper era. But yeah, I think we're just seeing there Will Fairclough's just cooking that back left tyre a little bit. He's just got a little bit out of that floor. And that's why he's struggling for tyre traction. It's just slightly overdriving the car. It's getting that temp into the tyres, and it's just finding it hard then to hook up the lap. As we see Jack Mack here, 4th place, a bit of a lonely 4th place really, but he's not going to complain with them points. He's going to be thinking, well, I'm ahead of the fast-paced guys in race 2. It's then his race to defend rather than his lap to try and gain. But yeah, great drive from Jordan Brennan here with 43 seconds to go. He sort of held that gap to Mike Epps there, consistently that low 1:36 lap time. Mike Epps is around that same sort of pace, and so is Robbie. So see them front 3 are really that very similar pace, but Jordan's just drove a great control race here, hasn't he?
He has indeed. Yes, he has indeed. We've also got we had Dave Jones go on to say, damn, I'm late, and also good evening, Dave. I tell you what, as we have Super Race said there, you need to watch the start of race 1, and to you need to watch all of race 1. So when you get a chance, do watch race 1. It is absolutely amazing. It was just side-by-side action for almost the entire lap. It was incredible. Yeah, do go watch it. Obviously after the round, of course, but yeah, rewatch the start of race 1 because it was absolutely amazing. But I believe we have got one more lap. But the gap as well, still coming down. We've got Walters and Smith now. This is an interesting battle that I don't think we have seen much of at the moment. The gap has started to close down. Half a second. Is it going to come down enough? We know that Walters and Isaac are both on very, very similar pace. Although, as I say that, the gap did come down. It just tipped under half a tenth there. Sorry, half a second, not half a tenth. Plus, that would be very, very close indeed. Isaac a little bit wide going through the very, very... That's sort of that mid-speed I've always found. And this is, I don't know, Dave, if you found the same things. Obviously, you've tested these cars. I always find that going through that real sort of like mid to high speed right-hander, if you're not careful, the car can really wash out wide quite easily if you're just a little bit offline. Yeah,
definitely. And you know, if you do that wash that you're on about, you know, all you have to do is almost clip that little bit of gravel, lost all your momentum, and then leave the door wide open, going into a hairpin. That if you can get the inside move done there, it's game over. You know, but we're seeing here Robin Walters really putting a lot of pressure here on Isaac. You know, he needs to be thinking where he can get this move done. You know, get a good run through turn 1 here, keep on the back of Isaac, get a bit of slipstream down towards turn 2, nice and early on the brakes, set it up, get all that slipstream down towards turn 3 and go for the move. So let's see if Robin really commits to this move here, because he's probably in that margin where he can get this move done.
Indeed, and it could very well be into turn 5. I think, to be fair, this is going to be the move where it needs to be made. He's always just saying that, but you've got the top right-hand corner of your screen, Jordan Brennan. He's got half a lap left, and he will take the victory for race 1. As we see there, the move has been made exactly where we said we were going. A little bit of contact there, but they both managed to get through it all okay. But again, we're going to see some more side-by-side action with the two Mercedes. We've got, like I said, you can just see Jordan Brennan in the top right corner, again, just on his lonesome, but a bit more contact there as well. So Walters still ahead of Smith. Smith couldn't quite get the cutback that he wanted. Again, is there going to be another move? I'm not entirely sure. Edmondson, though, he's 9/10 of a second back. If these guys really hold each other up, then that could be something that Edmondson is going to try and capitalise on. I don't think, though, just looking at the position, looking at the space that these guys have got between them now, I think this is a move done and dusted. But Jordan Brennan takes race 1 victory here at Hockenheim National. You see flashing his lights in absolute delight, with Epps taking P2 1.3 seconds back, but it's a cracking drive from there. And we see, so Jack McIntyre took 4th position, but yes, Robin Walters out of the 2 Mercedes takes P5. A very, very calculated move, very, very